Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Mike here once again. Hello. And yes, let's just talk about the obvious before we go any further, shall we? My beard has gone. Yeah, it's completely gone. I had a wet shave. The first wet shave I've had in about a year and a half. I've had a beard for a very long time, and I've gone through a whole range of emotions about it, but the thought process behind it was that I wanted to give my skin a bit of a break. I was getting kind of quite bad skin sometimes, and like ingrowing hairs underneath the beard that were frustrating me. I wanted to give my skin a little bit of a break, get some air, get some sun, and so I'm accepting in all that, and I needed that to happen, and it was all my own doing. However, as soon as I did it, like, if there was an undo button for life, I'd have pressed it. But there isn't, alas. So here I am. My face is hairless. Well, I mean, like, can you hear that? Like, it's growing back already, thank the Lord. But I'm not blessed with, like, fast growing facial hair. You know what? I'm blessed with facial hair, so we'll just move on. It'll be back. Beard lovers, it'll be back. And beard haters, hello. Okay guys, before we go into this video, I'm gonna ask you all to pop on over to my channel and hit subscribe. And whilst you're there, hit notifications and hit like on this video, because you're gonna get some awesome content from me, right? You know you're gonna get some awesome content from me. This is all for you. All of this is for you. Apologies that a week or two actually may have passed since I posted a video, but you know, life. It's been pretty busy. It's been good, but it's been busy, and I don't know whether to do a little catch up for you. I don't know whether to do it right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a couple of videos planned, and I've kind of set myself up to film a couple of videos, but I don't really know what this is going to be. I'm gonna start. So this video, guys, is about books. Let's get this bookish video done for May, shall we? Now, first of all, you will remember from my last bookish video for April that I read a book in April, hooray. And my plan was to start reading The Devil's Paint Box by Jarvis. But I didn't. I picked up a book from this little stack here of books that I have kept out whilst I am moving house. It's really a small little selection, but it's going to take me a little while to get through because there isn't as much reading time as you'd imagine whilst you're trying to work and move house and have, you know, some of your best friends' weddings. Yeah, that happened too. But I did pick up a book. I'm going to reach. So I picked up Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. This is the third book in the Chaos Walking trilogy, and if I was to describe the Chaos Walking trilogy, it's sort of, I mean, it's sci-fi, but it follows a boy called Todd who is, his family settled on a new planet because the Earth was dying and we had to move to another planet. And on this new planet, though, things aren't quite what they seem, and Todd was born there and he has grown up there, so he knows no different. But the men on this planet can hear each other's noise. They call it noise. It's kind of thoughts and feelings. It's all a bit kind of crazy. Just you can hear what's going on in other men's minds, but you cannot hear what's in women's minds, which is interesting. And this is book 3 of the trilogy. I read books 1 and 2 this time last year, actually. I read them in quite fast succession and thoroughly enjoyed them. In fact, I cannot recommend them enough. They're so good. This is book 3, and I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break from the story and kind of get myself a little bit more, I don't know, delayed gratification, I suppose. I was anticipating reading this, and a couple of times I picked it up and read the first bit and gone, oh no, I'm not ready, and I've had to put it back down. But I picked it up this time, and you can see, look how far into it I am. I'm on page, wait. I'm on page 459 now. Look, I've only got this much left. It's tiny. And this is a big book. This is quite a big book, but so far, having read so much it's phenomenal. It's told in first person. You're hearing from Todd, you're hearing from Viola. Those are the two narrators through the whole thing. There is a third narrator in this book, which is one of the indigenous species of the planet, and that's such an interesting perspective to hear, because this book, obviously, it's called Monsters of Men, and the reason it's called Monsters of Men is because in this book the humans on the planet go to war with the indigenous species, the spackle, and also against each other. And that's kind of how the second book finishes. The war is about to begin, and this book is really a book about war and warcraft and what it means to be a man and a woman and just be human in these horrific situations. And it's quite a claustrophobic book, in my opinion, so far. It's very sort of, these people are having to make these horrific decisions which have a massive impact on everybody else on the planet. And there's a convoy of humans, the second convoy coming, because the Todd was a child of the first settlers on the planet, and the second convoy of humans is coming. And a scout ship has landed, and they have just landed amidst this just horrific war, and they don't know whose side to take, they don't know what to do for the best. And there's a whole kind of terrorist plot line. There's these two people who are in love but are separate on kind of different camps, trying to do what's best, but they are kind of becoming at odds with each other. Very, very good storytelling, very, very good grown-up content, but obviously dressed in this kind of strange sci-fi world where people can hear each other's thoughts. So this is what I love about science fiction, though, and especially in young adult stories, is this whole idea that people can investigate what it means to be human amongst all these extremely fictional plots. I love it. I flipping love it. I need a drink. Oh, that was awkward. Was it graceful? I hope it was graceful. Are you guys over the beard yet? Are you missing the beard? Let me know what you think. Be honest. Let me know what you think. There's not a lot I can do about it, but you know, love a conversation. So yeah, I mean, I haven't finished it. I am so close to finishing it. I feel like it's going to probably be like 2 more sittings of just sitting down and just reading it to just blast it out, because I need to know what happens. I don't think it's going to end happily. I don't think it's going to end sadly either. I think there's going to be a bittersweetness to it. Just flipping love it. I flipping love it. I would push this trilogy into everybody's hands. I really would. It's such good storytelling and such good writing, and it really makes you think and feel, and oh, so good. There's so much to say about it, actually. I'll probably do it. I'll have to talk about it next month when I've actually finished it. But so far, so good. Like, so good. And clever. So that is the book that I have read, or I'm reading. Kind of both, have read and am currently reading. I am also reading, I say reading in inverted commas, How to Eat by Nigella Lawson. This is the little vintage paperback edition which came out to commemorate 20 years of this book being released. And I'm sort of half reading it and half listening to it on Audible. I'm really enjoying myself hearing Nigella read her words. She has a very eloquent use of language, and her descriptions are very interesting, and there's something very soothing about hearing people, to me anyway, talking about food. I am a big foodie and I love it. I love food. I could talk to you about food for days. We could just sit down and have a chat about food and drink, and I would just love my life. So this is what I'm kind of currently reading. I have read a little bit too, because I read faster than how Audible kind of things are spoken. And I think that makes sense. I think most people would read quicker than you would speak. I do anyway, I don't know. So listening to Nigella say the words is really relaxing and lovely, and it's lovely to hear her voice reading it. there's something quite special about that, but then there's also something quite special about reading her words. And obviously you kind of, I think you kind of hear your own voice in your mind when you're reading something. And so I did get a little bit impatient, and I've read on past what she's reading, but not like, I haven't read the next bit. I've like jumped like to a bit further on in the book, and I was reading about, what was I reading about? I was reading about a chocolate and raspberry dessert, like cake. I'm gonna see if I can find it for you, because, it's got me excited. Here we go, chocolate raspberry pudding cake, 333, all the threes. Here we go. So, and the thing about this book is that it is sort of intended to be a book that's read like a novel, which is why they've brought out this little tiny version of it. There's no pictures. Obviously it's full of recipes, but it's also full of like lots of passages of writing where perhaps she talks about other things to do with the ingredients, or a note on this and a whole other suggestion of how to cook something, or her history with that ingredient, that recipe. It's a very interesting read. So I got to this bit, turned to page 333, and I'm not faced with the recipe for the chocolate raspberry pudding cake. I'm faced with an extravagant but still elegant dinner for 8, and I was like, yep, I want this. Now, I'm not a big fan of starters at a dinner party, or starters when we go out for food. I feel like 2 courses is enough for me to eat. However, I love starter foods. If I could have a massive buffet full of starters, I'd be really happy. I would. But I don't fancy the starter, but the main meal, the tenderest chicken with green salad and garlic potatoes, that is right up my street. And then a chocolate raspberry pudding cake with raspberries and Greek yogurt. I'll jump to the pudding so you can hear what I'm talking about. Should I just read the description for you? This is fantastic. I call this a pudding cake because its texture is simply a mixture between pudding and cake, though lighter by far than that could ever imply. Think rather of a mousse without fluffiness. This is dense, but delicate with it, and it's heavenly at blood heat when the cakiness of the chocolate sits warmly around the sour-sweet, juicy raspberries embedded within, like glinting, mud-covered garnets. This should be eaten an hour or so after it comes out of the oven. It gets more solid when cold and loses some of that spectacular texture. If you have any left, wrap it in foil and heat it up in the oven, or warm it up a slice at a time in the microwave before eating. Oh, I want it. It's just raspberries and chocolate, I think, is a heavenly mix. So yeah, I have been reading this and listening to this, and I'm in a massive Nigella kind of mood. And I think that's partially because obviously I'm moving house and a lot of my stuff is getting packed up now, that I want to be kind of in the new house and kind of nesting, as it were. I really, that's what I'm in the mood for, just like baking and making things. I have been baking and making a lot. I don't know whether to do a separate video and let you know what's going on in my kitchen. I might, but yeah, really like this, and I'm really enjoying how handy it is just to have this little version of the book. I recommend highly. Ooh, smash or crash. So I did buy a couple of books this month, and I didn't buy any last month, as you remember. And the books this month were bought. I'm trying not to buy too many books as I'm packing everything. It seems silly to buy more to pack, but I walked past these in shops, and I never get to see these in shops. As you know, on this channel, I'm a massive Robin Jarvis fan, and I find myself in a situation where I'm sort of collecting Robin Jarvis novels, and I'm not going to apologise for it. I just want to do it. I love Robin Jarvis, I love his writing, I think he deserves to be supported, and I'm enjoying his books. So I walked past this in This is The Power of Dark. I know I read this last month. I read it on my Kindle, and I own it in hardback, but I didn't own the paperback. And I walked past it in W.H. Smith's. They were having a sale, and I just had to buy it. This is the Egmont version, and it's got this really cool, like, there's some shiny bits on the cover as well as it being in matte. And this picture is wonderful. This of a skeleton flying through the air towards Lil, and then the water rushing up in between the cliffs. It's a really good novel. I enjoyed myself very much reading it. I'll put it there. And I went to the works as well and have a little look and see what was going on, because I kind of pop in every so often, and I saw it again. I don't think I'm crazy, you're going to think I'm mad, but this version, the reason it caught my eye was because it's got a different publisher on the spine. It's published by Dean, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it had been like picked up by somebody else to be published, and that sort of interested me. And this version is just it's just glossy. It's all glossy all over. There isn't any kind of raised bits or anything. So this is probably like a mass market paperback, but it's good that it's had a reissue, so that makes me feel good. And it's the same book. It's all the same inside. The book, I should tell you, it's about something is brewing in the coastal town of Whitby. To best friends Lil and Vern, it just seems like a particularly bad storm. But Cherry Cerise, the last of the town's guardian witches, fears that ancient forces are at work, reviving the curse of a long-lost magical artifact, and a feud that has survived even beyond death. So that's what it's about. It's really good. I really enjoyed my reread, and I feel no badness or guilt or anything for owning 4 versions of this book. None at all. And they were all bargains, so it's all good. And the last thing I want to talk to you about, guys, in this kind of reading wrap-up / purchasing / currently reading all the bookish stuff is, I'm just going to hold it up. You're going to understand. Okay, this, guys, is a supplement that came in yesterday's Guardian. This is a review and an exclusive extract from Philip Pullman's new novel, The Book of Dust Volume 2, The Secret Commonwealth. I mean, look at this wonderful picture on the front. There's a barge in water, and it's pouring with rain, and there's a blimp, which I found, I mean, I know they don't call them blimps in the book, they call them zeppelins, but it's still a blimp. And I thought, you know, the word blimp, it's a flippin' awesome word, isn't it? Blimp. I'm gonna say it one more time. Blimp. Okay, I'm gonna go in. I am very, very, very excited for the next chapter of The Book of Dust, for Lyra and her continuing story. I'm a huge fan of his dark materials. There are a few videos on this channel, I'll probably link them for you. I'm just gonna show you this. Look at this picture. There's the Zeppelin crashing and burning and lighting up the sky, and here's some people on the boat. And it's just, so it says inside here, following on from Lyra's adventures in the His Dark Materials trilogy, the much anticipated second volume of The Book of Dust is coming this autumn. Autumn cannot come quick enough, let me tell you. In this extract, the 20-year-old Lyra has to flee Oxford by boat for the 3rd time in her life, this time in the company of the old Egyptian Giorgio Brabant. I don't know how to say that. As they sail towards the safety of the fens, they hear a zeppelin approaching, and then there are 4 pages, which is a sneaky extract from The Book of Dust Volume 2, The Secret Commonwealth. And after I've recorded these videos for you today, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read this extract. I don't normally buy a paper. I'm not very good at that kind of thing. It isn't really my bag. But when I heard that there was going to be an extract in the book, that isn't out until October, and the cover was revealed this week. I mean, did you see that cover? It is stunning. I think my favourite colours, the reds, the yellows, the purples, the blues. I love that Pan is on the front in his settled form, and there's a train at sunset going towards a mountain. I cannot contain my excitement. I can't wait. I'm actually genuinely so flippin' excited. I cannot wait. Yeah, I'm going to read that now. I'm done. That was the end of my bookish video for this month, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and please leave me a message in the comments below and we'll have a chat about it. I'll speak to you next month. Bye.